Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Better get the cool slow, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. One of my viewers wanted my thoughts on a Nightline report that talked about the trend of stay-at-home dads who stay home to take care of kids as their wives climb the corporate ladder.
I refer to him as the CEO of Team Tavis. You look after our finances, operations, logistics.
And who makes dinner?
Both of us. I wouldn't.
And then who does the dishes?
There's no ratio there. That's 100% me. Yeah.
Stephen and Janelle Tavis don't run a typical household.
We don't need to make any changes to it.
While Janelle leads her team as Chief Commercial Officer of baby stroller brand Bugaboo.
This taupe color, everyone's responding really well to it, I think because it's gender neutral.
Stephen is at home, working just as hard. As more women reach the highest rungs of the corporate ladder, increasingly by their side, husbands like Stephen, taking a step back from their own careers to care for their families.
You have a graduate degree, you were in supply chain management, you had a career. What was the hardest part of stepping away from your career?
Just the unknown. You don't really know what it's going to be like. Figuring out a routine, balancing the housework with childcare. So it was a good challenge.
In what ways has this choice helped your career?
I think that I'm fully focused when I'm at work because I know that my family is sorted.
The Tavis family is part of a growing trend in the U.S. A recent study found that nearly 1 in 5 stay-at-home parents is the dad.
We see a lot of trad wives on TikTok, and we see this throwback to the stay-at-home mom perfection, and we're seeing more stay-at-home dads as well. What makes me happy is that more people are having choice.
Some have dubbed these kinds of dads house husbands.
You push back against terms like Mr. Mom or house husband.
Because it's disparaging. It sort of minimizes what you're doing.
Now famous men from David Beckham to Doug Emhoff are gladly stepping away from their careers to support their families in other ways.
To my beloved Doug and our family, I love you so very much.
Maroon 5's Adam Levine speaking on The Ellen DeGeneres Show after quitting The Voice in 2019.
Just to be able to kind of stop in this moment to spend time with my new young family and just have the greatest time ever. Now I'm just like a stay-at-home dad.
Even younger stars like Tom Holland telling Men's Health magazine earlier this year, when I have kids, you will not see me in movies anymore.
When you're out with friends and you're out with, alpha males who are, hard-charging career people.
Yeah.
Do you feel judged?
I don't, honestly. I've come to own it from the very beginning. Sometimes I have hesitations on how to explain what do I do all day, because some people might have a perception that I'm just folding towels all day.
Now he's out and about picking up their 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son from school, teaching them to ride bikes.
Yeah!
And helping with homework.
Goes from the late hoort.
All in Stephen's native language, Dutch.
Ja, dat is hier op dit plaatje.
He has a special connection with our children, and I'm grateful for that. While his contribution to our family is not in the financial sense, it's really in his presence, his stability, the joy that they feel.
The Tavises say they've had no regrets since making the decision 4 years ago. They say they realize their family is lucky to be able to afford to live on just one income.
Have you felt the need to cut corners financially because you don't have 2 income streams?
When we ran the numbers, we also saved money by not having childcare, right? Like I was the childcare, so we didn't have to make huge sacrifices in terms of like lifestyle. But again, we were never really leading a flaunting lifestyle, I think. So.
For you, what was the hardest part of making this decision?
Honestly, that I felt like I was missing out a little bit.
Hi. Janelle says she works to maximize her time with her family, leaving the office by 4:30 each day and putting her phone away until 8.
Did you have a good day? Yeah.
That fully helps me be present mom do what I need to do at work, guide my team, come back home, cherish the time with my family.
They say the decision has had a positive impact on their kids.
What do you think you're modeling for both your daughter and for your son?
Probably to not focus too much on gender roles and more so like, hey, we are a team, right?
I don't think that they have even an association of these are mom jobs and these are dad jobs.
In fact, one study found that when fathers did more equitable housework at home, daughters in particular expressed a greater interest in working outside the home and having a less stereotypical occupation.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. This is our biggest Company of Dads meetup ever.
Paul Sullivan, a dad of 3 daughters, has created a community for what he calls lead dads.
We define a lead dad as the go-to parent, whether he works full-time, part-time, or devote all of his time to his family. We say, in many cases, he's there to support his wife or partner in whatever they're doing.
After quitting his job as a New York Times columnist, he founded the Company of Dads in 2022, a networking group for fathers, working or not, in similar situations.
There's a lot of stigmas surrounding stay-at-home dads.
There's power in numbers, right? And just being able to have people to connect with.
More dads need to be aware and need to be comfortable with the idea of taking on a role of just being a dad.
When did you recognize the need for a Company of Dads?
When I went online and I saw there are tons of resources for moms. All the resources for parents were really aimed at moms.
Did you ever try to join one of the other parenting groups or the ones that were primarily female?
I went to the University of Chicago for graduate school, pretty great school. I had a better shot of getting into the University of Chicago than I do to get into the Facebook Moms group in my town.
Paul says he began prioritizing family over work around 2013, so his wife Laura could focus on building her own asset and wealth management firm.
There's this fear when you're a working mom that you're neglecting the kids.
Because there's a guilt. There's a built-in guilt. But at the end of the day, if you have a good partnership and you can encourage your spouse to take on more of the second shift, I call it, then it actually works for a better marriage.
I think it's important to point out, too, that oftentimes equal partnership at home leads to better relationships, even better sex lives. Over time, when you're both contributing to the house, when you're both contributing to caregiving, neither one of you is going to feel bitter or resentful towards each other.
What's it like being the devoted wife, supporting your husband's lead parenting career? What makes you proud of him for doing that?
That he's doing something that is not normalized yet and trying to blaze a trail for, selfishly, my girls as women. It's hard. I work in an industry that is really hard for women to be in. So I celebrate that.
Back in New York City, Stephen Tavis says his role as a stay-at-home father has helped him reconnect with himself.
During my son's nap times, I would spend time on a children's book that I wrote and illustrated with my wife. The story is about a dog who is comparing himself to others. The same way as I never made my job my identity, I didn't want me being a dad just being my full identity.
Do you see yourself returning to a more traditional career down the road?
Never say never, but right now I'm just kind of living in the present, how cliche that may sound, and really enjoying this.
The children sense that. He's so proud of what he does. He's so happy. We've made this work.
Now, as I was watching this report on Nightline that the viewer sent me, I wound up shaking my head after watching this entire whole video. Because this entire whole video is nothing more than a piece of gynocentric and feminist propaganda meant to try to push a narrative regarding a trend of stay-at-home dads, a trend of stay-at-home dads that basically will end in a complete disaster due to female nature. Now, when it comes down to women, women basically are wanting a man to be the one who takes charge and be the head and the leader, because that's the role that God established for the man. And when it comes to women, they're looking for that man to be assertive and take that role as a man. And that's what these beta males don't understand regarding the situation they've set themselves up to be in, a situation where they are not on a road to be the stay-at-home dad, but on a road to basically dealing with a divorce sooner rather than later. And the reason why these dudes will be dealing with a divorce sooner rather than later is due to female nature and the roles that God established for men and women. Now, God established a role for the man to be the head of the family and established a role for him to take the lead. And when a man decides to do things, when he's a well-educated man, like one of the guys here in this whole video piece, and he decides to quit his job and stay home, what that guy doesn't see is that he's putting himself in a submissive position. And as he puts himself in this submissive position, he's putting himself in a place where he's lost face in the eyes of his wife. And as he's lost face in the eyes of his wife, this is where she starts to lose respect for that man. And as she starts to lose respect for that man, this is where she starts to participate in her natural hypergamy, because she doesn't see this man anymore as a high status man who has resources or a high status anymore. And as a result, she starts to put distance between herself, because now this woman, who is a high-powered executive, is no longer seeing this man as the head, no longer seeing this man as a leader, no longer seeing this man as an authority figure and as a helpmeet. She's not seeing this man as someone she can help meet the needs of. No, she's seeing this man as less of a man, and sees him as less of a man because he has basically, again, abdicated his leadership position. And as he's abdicated his leadership position, he's emasculated himself and put himself no longer in the role of a man, but put himself in the role of a child. And as he's put himself in the role of a child, he basically winds up in a place where this woman sees him in the background of her life, not seeing him as someone she, again, respects or regards. No, what she's seeing as related to this man who's staying at home with the kids, putting himself in a female role, is a man that she no longer again sees as anyone who can lead her, anyone that has anything that she regards. Moreover, he's basically lost his high status as a man. And as that woman is sitting there at this high profile job and being an executive, she's involved in a whole lot of relationships with other men. Again, she's seeing these men being movers and shakers inside of the corporate business. She's seeing these men, again, making money and, again, going to work and taking the lead in their lives. And she's looking at this dude who's following her. And when she looks at that dude, she doesn't see a man that she has any regard for. No, she doesn't see him as anyone she cares about. And as she's at this job, this is where her natural hypergamy is going to kick in. And it's going to kick in because she's seeing these guys going out here making power moves, going out here making big steps, going out here taking action and taking the lead. And she's going to feel attracted to those men because those men have the power that she wants, and again wants to see that man in action. And that's where these women who, again, are working these high-powered jobs are going to go from looking at this, again, cucked man, this completely cucked beta male, to looking at these masculine men participating in masculine behavior, and they're going to wind up getting attracted to those men, where to the point where they're thinking about considering having an affair if they haven't had an affair with these dudes, and looking to get their backs blown out by these dudes, while this guy is basically blowing noses of kids in the house. Because this woman, again, when she looks at this guy, she doesn't see a guy who has face. And again, what's really sad about this whole story is that these dudes decided to quit their jobs. Now, I would have a little empathy for these dudes if they were out here and they wound up losing their jobs and wound up in the job market and ran into the HR brick wall. But these guys wound up quitting their jobs as related to these high-powered positions, and as they went from high-value men, they wound up on the road to becoming men in crisis. They wound up becoming men in crisis because they didn't understand their role as men, did not understand their role as men in God's order. No, these guys went out here and drank the white feminist Kool-Aid, and as they drank the white feminist Kool-Aid, they hoped to shape and mold themselves into these kinder, gentler, softer males, who will basically learn the hard way about female nature, as they basically eventually are going to get a divorce paper presented to them by a process server sooner rather than later, and possibly wind up getting that divorce paper filed in front of him, because when it comes down to women, again, women want to see a man take the lead in a relationship. They want to see a man taking power. Again, optically, it's not a good look for a man to be sitting in the house. Now, I had to cut out a scene that talked about the movie Mr. Mom, and the whole thing about the movie Mr. Mom was it's one of those films that was designed to be this soft male propaganda, and it basically, again, didn't really go over very well back in the 80s. Now, the entire film was trying to say that, again, a masculine man can take that role at home, but that's not a role a man is going to, again, get respect for taking at home, because most women in the real world, they don't want to see no man in they space, because women naturally go out here and nest, and no woman wants to see a man up in her space, again, in her role, again, submitting to her. No, when she looks at that dude who's taking care of kids, she's looking at that dude, again, with a side eye, and as she looks at him with a side eye, she's checking out all these executives in these jobs where she's working, again, going out here on the phone, making power moves, going out here taking the lead, and she's seeing actual masculinity. And when she looks at this dude, she don't see no masculinity. No, what she sees is a bitch in front of her. Again, a heterosexual woman don't want to be around no guy who's acting all feminine and soft, and again, going out here and looking to be the nurturer. She's looking for that man to set order and set structure, and a guy who quits his job to go stay home, that's a weak dude when you really think about it. I mean, that's a weak dude. Again, if it would be different if you had your own business at home and you were taking care of the kids, she could respect that, because she's saying, okay, he's taking the lead and the initiative, and he's handling business at home, and I can respect that at home. But a dude who quits his job and stays home ain't no different than Pookie. Again, Pookie stays at home as the black woman is out here working the job, and he's basically the guy who, again, drops her off at work and then takes her car and puts some rims on it, and again, go out here and got the candy paint on it, driving it around. He's not really handling business as a man, and that's what these dudes are. Again, they're the white version of Pookie, again, sitting up in a woman's house, letting her take care of him. But the whole thing is that she's going to wind up eventually taking care of business, because she going to see another man handling his business. And again, as she sees these guys at the job handling business, she's going to, again, look to pursue one of those guys, either in a role as a side piece where she's getting smashed behind this guy's back, or she's going to, again, eventually file for divorce when she sees this guy, again, out here handling his business. No, it's not really a good situation for these dudes to be in. No, not a good situation for you to be in, sitting up in a house being taken care of by a woman. That's not how you go out here and handle business. No, a man's supposed to go out here and have his own. A man is supposed to go out here and have his own stuff together, have his money taken care of, and out here taking the lead. No man's supposed to be sitting up under a woman, because if you sit up under a woman, what's going to happen is she's emotional, and because she's emotional, she's going to go out here and get the leverage, and then use that leverage to yank the rug out from under you. And as she yanks the rug out from under you, dude, you gonna be completely ass out, because she gonna take you to divorce court. And again, she may wind up having to pay in some cases, but the whole thing is that you wind up, again, looking like a chump, looking like a chump, again, as related to this situation, because again, this not a good look for you as a man to be up under no woman, because if you're up under a woman, there's another man looking to take your spot, and that's what these guys really ain't thinking about. They looking to take your spot, and a lot of these guys are thinking, oh, I'll just go out here and I'll benefit from the divorce, similar to what happened to Gabriel Aubrey or Olivier Martinez with Halle Berry. But you're the guy who's looking like a complete laughingstock, even to your kids, because your kids don't respect you. They don't respect you because they see the woman, again, running you, and they see the woman running you and thinking, you know, what's wrong with this dude? Especially when they go out here and they're coming home from school and they're seeing other kids being picked up by their moms, and they see you coming up to the school. They look wondering what's wrong, because, okay, you're supposed to only come whenever there's something really serious going on with her. If there's something going on with her, they can understand, okay, you running things for a minute, but you sitting up here in the house like this, again, this ain't no different than Pookie. This is no different than Pookie from the hood. I mean, Pookie from the hood be a baby daddy sitting up under a woman, thinking this is cool, but this is not how you want to roll in these streets. No, God made the man to be the head. He made the man to go out here and work. He made the man to go out here and take care of business. And if your woman is out here running your business, then you're not running anything. And that's what flies over these dudes' heads, because they basically, again, drank this feminist Kool-Aid. And as they drank this white feminist Kool-Aid, they don't see how they're in for a recipe for disaster where they're not going to be the guys who, again, are going to be functional. Again, if this is a trend, it's a sad trend as related to the state of men. It shows that we have a lot of men in crisis. Again, these are supposed to be high-value white men, and these high-value white men, again, are checking out as related to things, checking out because they're basically chickening out. And again, this is not how you want to go out like a man. No, this is how bitches go out. And again, she's not looking at you as anybody she respects at this point. No, she ain't looking at you as anybody she really cares about at this point. She's like, oh, I got my money, I got my high profile job, and I'm looking at this, I'm looking for the next guy who makes more money. I mean, she's basically looking to, again, head for the door, and these dudes they're just completely clueless. They don't even know what the game is, and they don't know that it's basically game over for their relationship. It's game over when your woman is out here, and she's out here, again, at one of these jobs, and she's seeing all these guys, again, making this paper. She's looking at the door and, again, looking at some other dude because she don't respect you at this point. And that's where these simps, again, don't see the game. And, again, ABC, again, wants to push this, again, propaganda on men, because one of the reasons why we have so many men not working is mainly because many men can't get in the door because of the HR brick wall. The HR brick wall is one of the reasons why so many men can't get in, and we shake our heads when we see a dude making six figures, making big bank, and he decides, oh, I'm going to quit my job. No, we look at him and we don't see a man doing anything trendy or cool. No, we see a pathetic dude who's about to, again, get taken to the cleaners. Again, either get taken to the cleaners or just basically get dropped at the end of the day and basically wind up in the same place as Pookie, the same place where you're in a community run by women who have no regard for you, have no respect for you, see you as a complete joke. And that's what they were trying to push here as propaganda. But any smart man understands, okay, if your woman is out here with a high profile job, you don't want to be living up under no woman, because everything can be taken from you just like that if she decides to file for divorce, or she says, I'm not happy, or she comes up to you and says, I'm leaving you. I mean, that's what's coming to these dudes. Because she doesn't see them as men. No, she sees them like baby boys, no different than Jody from the movie. I mean, what's sad is, again, you got a guy with a master's degree, basically a white male Jody, and you got another dude Again, looking just like Jody from Baby Boy. Again, Baby Boy who don't understand what it means to be a man. Again, even with the education, not smart enough to understand his role as a man in God's order. And what I saw in this whole segment that the viewers sent me were not men. No, I saw men in crisis. Pathetic men in crisis who had been completely cuckolded by the wives that they had. Again, they out here in these high-profile jobs looking to get paid, and these guys are sitting here not understanding that at the end of the day, they are on a road not where they're going to be a Mr. Mom, but they're going to be the guys, again, who are completely emasculated with their testicles inside of this woman's Birkin bag, and again, don't understand that this woman doesn't respect you, and I'll repeat it once more, don't respect you at all. No, you thinking everything is new age, but you're going to find out how everything is basically the same as the way the earth has been since the fall of man and Adam and Eve sinned, and how female nature is female nature in any age, whether it be the 80s with Mr. Mom or the feminist movement that came before it. Female nature is female nature, and it's just a matter of time before the new age mom is looking to move on to the next man, and these men will be sitting here basically winding up completely jammed up as men in crisis. Now, if you want to learn how to identify the behavior of a guy like this, so that you don't, so you can break out of this pattern, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com. And if you want to learn how to not be a simp like this, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping: Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, on Amazon.com. And you can learn how not to become a guy like this and identify the behavior of guys like this so that you don't get involved with these type of guys with these new jack stupid new age deal. A new jack deal that basically will lead to you getting jammed up at the end of the day, because what you thinking you're going to stay home and be with the kids when the whole thing is you're not with the whole thing is you're just getting played at the end of the day. Now, if you want to see, this was a video requested by one of my viewers, and if you want to request the video, you can drop a donation for a minimum of $15 to the PayPal or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box, and if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this all-new Spinsterella story. Pre-order your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.